Okay, so as you can see, I'm a bit under the weather. I look like shit. I feel like shit. But as they say, the content must go on. And last night I rewatched Thor Love and Thunder. And I have a story to go along with this one. So the first time that I watched this movie, it was a packed theatre, lots of excitement in the air. And as I was sitting there watching the introduction to Love and Thunder, I just remember thinking, this movie is not for me. Like, yeah, I don't know, something just was not clicking with me the first time that I watched this movie. And so I walked out, I got a refund, and then I waited about 3 to 4 weeks for the excitement to settle down. And then I went back to the theatre to watch Love and Thunder. Because, I wanted to give this movie a chance. I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to see if it could pull any punches. I wanted to see if it could surprise me a little bit. Maybe if I gave the movie a chance, maybe this film could win me over. Maybe it could be one of the best Marvel films I've ever seen. I don't know. And so, I watched the Love and Thunder from beginning till end, and there were moments of enjoyment. There were a few moments I could pick out, here and here as being entertaining and being fun. But that's it. But at the end of the day, Thor Love and Thunder was a very disappointing installment in the MCU. It was a film I didn't even want to remember after I finished watching it. Because, the MCU has done better in previous years. And especially as a counterhand, I guess you can say, to Ragnarok, which was one of the most well-acclaimed MCU films of all time. And being one of a lot of people's favourite MCU film. Being a sequel to that, this one also being directed by Taika Waititi. There was a lot of expectations and predictions on people's shoulders. So yeah, keep that in mind going forward in this review. So I watched it last night. A few years have passed since Love and Thunder has come out, and I want to see if that hatred that was dwelling inside of me when I first saw this movie is still something I felt when watching Love and Thunder. And is it? No. No. This is actually a movie I think is a lot better than what I remember it being. I don't remember what my mindset was when I initially watched it, but I was not the biggest fan back then, but watching it last night, there's actually a lot in this movie to enjoy. So yeah, let's get the ball rolling. Let's talk about the positives of Thor Love and Thunder. And I think the strongest element of Thor Love and Thunder is Christian Bale's portrayal as Gore the God Butcher. And now, he's in the movie for a small amount of time, but all of his scenes are standouts. And I think having him kind of show up in the film every now and then, it makes the anticipation for when is Christian Bale's, Gore the God Butcher going to come back on screen, it makes that anticipation, that excitement so much more worth it. And so I think that's why his scenes are going to be a standout for a lot of people. And I think one of my favourite sequences in the entire film is the town sequence, where we're first introduced to the shadow creatures and they're kidnapping the kids and all that. And just another thing quickly, for Love and Thunder takes a lot of risks that Marvel wouldn't normally take. It goes into a more darker and scarier territory than most other films would. Like, as far as, kidnapping children, MCU has usually played it very safe. But as far as, kidnapping children, I was like, holy shit, I never thought I'd ever see this in the MCU film. And, I thought the threat with Gore the God Butcher, was very real. I thought he was intimidating. I thought he was sinister. I thought he was scary. I thought he was terrifying. And just, he's everything that you want out of a villain. And, his dialogue and just his presence throughout the film, it just, whenever you see him kind of, come out of the shadows or, or rise, as a better term of words, it's just, it sends shivers down your spine watching Christian Bale in this performance. And from what I know of, there was actually a lot of Gore the God Butcher that was cut from Thor Love and Thunder, and I would love to see a director's cut. I would love to see a Taika Waititi cut of this film, where Gore the God Butcher is in this film a lot more. Because I've heard there's an R-rated cut of this film where you actually see, Gore the God Butcher do some actual butchering. And just, yeah, I felt everything that they did with Gore the God Butcher was spot on for what they portrayed. There's certainly some problems that I have with his character as far as what they show. Like, I felt like we could have seen him, maybe hack and slash, some of these gods where it's suggested, but it's never seen. I felt like that would have made his character just so much more intimidating. But I felt that this film goes a more horror approach with its villain more than a comedic approach. And I don't know, that's something I really appreciated about this film. And now, moving on from that, this was one of the things when I watched it the second time in theaters, I was very mixed on. I did not like her character at all, and that is Natalie Portman as the Almighty Thor. Now, yeah, this was something I just did not like. I felt like after not seeing her for so many films, why coming back and why her being the hero of this story, like, was that a good move? I don't know. That's something that just did not sit right with me. And, seeing this time around, I thought it's a solid conclusion for her character. It's a nice little touch for, Chris Hemsworth's character, and especially, Natalie Portman's character in this story having cancer. I think it makes for some very heartfelt and dramatic moments in the film, and I think it makes you more attached to Natalie Portman's character and what her arc throughout this film is. And yeah, and the action in this film I thought was incredible from a visual standpoint and from a choreographed standpoint. I thought the action in this film was very, very entertaining. And just another thing I forgot to mention, Gore the God Butcher's motivation for doing what he's doing, it makes sense. You can see where he's coming from. If you put yourself in his mindset, to him, he's doing the right thing. And, I related with that. And I loved some of the heartfelt and emotional beats that came with his character as the film progressed. Now, talking about the biggest problem of Love and Thunder. So, Ragnarok being one of the